This woman went missing while on her way to pick up her children from school. 2 days later, police discovered her dismembered body parts in a large stainless steel soup pot inside her in-laws' apartment.
According to sources, police have discovered the head of model Abby Choi, whose body was dismembered in a village house in Tai Po earlier.
On Sunday, police confirmed a head and ribs were found inside one of 2 large pots inside the 3-story house where Choi is believed to have been butchered.
Sources say police have located the head in a soup pot that was removed earlier from the village house.
Why would someone mutilate their in-law and cook her in a hot pot? And what circumstances led to one of the most gruesome murders in Chinese history? Today, on Crime Diaries, we head to Tai Po, Hong Kong, to explore the case of Abby Choi. Abby Choi Tin Fung was a famous fashion model born on July 11, 1994. She came from a wealthy family that owned several business ventures in China. According to reports, her net worth was a little over 100 million Hong Kong dollars, approximately 13 million US dollars. When Abby was 18, she married her now ex-husband, Alex Kwong. They had 2 children, who are now aged 8 and 10. Abby's relationship with Alex didn't last too long. After 3 years, she remarried Chris Tam, who also came from a wealthy family. Although Abby and her ex-husband went their separate ways, she didn't stop supporting him and his family. She reportedly provided an apartment for her ex-in-laws and helped her ex-brother-in-law Anthony purchase a house. She also hired Anthony as her private chauffeur. Sadly, Abby's kindness to her ex-in-laws was reversely reciprocated. On February 22, 2023, Abby Choi vanished. She was last seen in the Tai Po region of Hong Kong, en route to take her older kids from school. Hong Kong police immediately started their search for Abby. More than 150 detectives from the force's Kowloon West Regional Crime Unit were tasked with the search. The authorities then received leads that Abby's ex-in-laws were possible suspects for her disappearance, since they may have had financial motives. Police resorted to checking Abby's vehicle GPS records and reviewing security camera footage to find her. After finding out that her car had been driven to the area where her ex-in-laws reside in Tai Po, dozens of officers were immediately deployed there to carry out detective work. They searched the apartment of 65-year-old Kwong Kao, Abby's ex-father-in-law. Here's where they unveiled the horrifying truth. When they inspected Kwong Kao's refrigerator, they discovered a set of dismembered human legs. Upon further searching, they found an entire skull being boiled into a soup inside a large stainless steel pot. In another soup pot, human ribs and flesh were mixed with carrots and radishes. Police later confirmed that all the human remains uncovered in the apartment are of Abby Choi. A meat slicer, an electric saw, and some of Abby's belongings, including her clothes, credit card, and ID, were also found at her ex-father-in-law's residence. According to police, forensics experts identified a hole in her skull that was caused by a hard object. This is believed to be the cause of her death. Abby's arms and torso were still missing. Police deduced that Abby's ex-brother-in-law Anthony lured and personally drove Abby to the rented apartment with the excuse of taking her to pick up her children. Blood traces were found on Abby's car, which means that she was attacked immediately inside her vehicle before she was brought to the apartment. Abby's ex-husband, Alex Kwong, his brother, Anthony Kwong, his mother, Jenny Lee, and his father, Kwong Kao, were instantly hunted by the police in connection with the model's death. Showing his guilt, Alex attempted to leave Hong Kong by using a speedboat. Fortunately, he was cut off by the authorities on the pier. He brought money and various jewelry with him, which were confiscated by the police. The 5th suspect, Kwong Kao's mistress, was also arrested since she's the one who owns the apartment where Abby's remains were found. Additionally, a 6th subject was detained for setting up an escape route for Alex Kwong through the pier. Why cook Abby? In a local Hong Kong news report, a Taiwanese forensic doctor explained that the cause of the horrifically intricate murder was to obstruct the operation of the authorities in examining DNA. The murderer wanted to dispose of the head and limbs to increase the difficulty in identifying fingerprints. The doctor also shared that the soup was not reserved for eating, but for hiding the DNA, and for no other reason. Even though they were divorced, Abby had been financially supporting Alex and his family. Alex was unemployed and his parents were retired, so their living expenses were primarily provided for by Abby. However, according to the police, Abby was murdered due to a financial dispute with her ex-husband's family. We believe the victim and her ex-husband's family had many financial disputes involving huge sums, which became a motive to kill. Superintendent Alan Chung told reporters, "There had been a conflict with Abby's choice of selling one of her properties, specifically the luxurious apartment on Kaduri Hill, where Kwong Kao, her ex-father-in-law, resides. The property's ownership was signed by Kwong Kao, but it was Abby who bought the apartment. Abby named it after him to save more than Hong Kong's $7 million in tax. Since Abby was the one who paid for the housing, she received the right to sell it, as long as she can produce proof that she made the purchase." One of Abby's close friends, who hid their identity, tipped that Kwong Kao warned Abby that if she sold the property, he would kill her. This gave a better sense of how and why Abby's detailed murder was planned. Kwong Kao used to be a police officer who previously received awards for his excellent service. In contrast, he was forced to retire in 2005 after he was condemned in his rape case. For unknown reasons, he was released. The meticulous nature of the crime was brought to light, and the authorities were able to figure out that Kwong Kao was the mastermind who orchestrated the elaborate murder. On February 27, 2023, the police proceeded with murder charges against Cao Kwong, Alex Kwong, and Anthony Kwong. Jenny Lee was charged with perverting the course of justice. All 4 suspects, who were officially charged in court, were denied bail. Their cases were adjourned to May 8, 2023. According to the laws of Hong Kong, if her ex-in-laws were convicted of murder, they would carry the mandatory sentence of life imprisonment. Originally, the death penalty was the sole legal punishment for murder in Hong Kong, but it was fully abolished in 1993. Fans and loved ones were extremely grieved due to Abby's loss. Her current husband, Chris Tam, remembered her as a loving, caring, and thoughtful wife and mother. For married couples, in-laws are role models that give emotional and practical support during difficult times. However, having in-laws sometimes results in conflict and tension, and in this case, it ultimately caused a wife's death. What are your thoughts about the case of Abby Choi? Tell us in the comment section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. This has been Crime Diaries, and until next time, don't be another statistic.